Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Good evening. The meeting of the Revere Board of Appeals would now come to order. Could we stand and salute the flag, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members, Mr. Lemonna? Here, Mr. Lopes? Here, Mr. O'Brien? Here, Mr. Pelton is absent. Alternate member, Ms. Pratt? Here, and Chairman Tucker?
Here.
Here, it's noted that Ms. Pratt will be the alternate voting member tonight.
Okay.
First item on the agenda is application A2428, Alcione Simao, 7 View Street, Revere, Mass., requesting a variance of section 1724070A, no parking in the front yard, to enable the appellant to provide for 2 parking spaces in the front yard at 7 View Street.
Is the applicant here? Okay. So we did get the could you press that microphone the button once? There you go.
Yes.
State your name and address for the record.
Alcione Simao, 7 View Street, Revere, 02151.
Okay, so we did receive clarification
Okay.
from the building department, so I'll just go on with this. Are there any proponents? Anyone in favor? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Anyone opposed? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any members wish to speak?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve? Roll call, please, with our standard conditions.
The standard conditions for the ZBA are as follows. If the rights authorized by this variance are not exercised within 1 year of the date of the grant of this variance, the right shall lapse. This variance shall not be valid until the appellant has recorded this variance and plan in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds and submits document recording numbers and dates to the city clerk and building inspector of the city of Revere, and the appellant must receive site plan review approval prior to applying for a building permit. Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested subject to those conditions? Mr. Lemonna?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Lopes?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Pratt?
Yes.
Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes,
Yes, the variance has been granted, subject to those conditions.
Thank you.
you're welcome. In the next calendar item number?
Next application is A2429, Kyle Russo and Dylan Russo, 74 Quincy Ave, Winthrop, requesting a variance of section 1740070 with respect to the requirement that no non-conforming lot shall be further reduced in area and frontage in order to file an A&R plan for lots 112 and part lot 113 at 26 Tapley Ave and lot 111 at 30 Tapley Ave to enable the appellant to construct a new single-family dwelling on lot 111 at 30 Tapley Ave.
Is the applicant present? Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. You just have to push the button one time.
Kyle Russo, 74 Quincy Ave, Winthrop, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any letters on file for this? No? Okay. All right, we did receive the clarification from the building department, so seeing that we received that, I would now just ask that if there are any proponents, anyone in favor? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any members?
So basically on this, we're just looking for 11 inches for frontage.
Right. In the park, in the front yard, right? This was the parking spaces? No. What?
Lot area on on 30 Tapley, we're going to have the 3,000 square feet, we're reducing down to 3,499 square feet, and the frontage is going to go from 41.5 to 39.1. But on the other lot, 26 Tapley, which is the house lot, the existing house lot, we're going to increase from 2,724 square feet up to 2,847, so we're still a little short of the 3,000 on that one. But it increases because we had to move that property line over in the middle where the driveway had to
Right.
be inserted.
Yes, that we got the clarification on. So is there a motion to approve? Roll call, please, with our standard condition.
The standard conditions for the ZBA are as follows. If the rights authorized by this variance are not exercised within 1 year of the date of the grant of this variance, the right shall lapse. This variance shall not be valid until the appellant has recorded this variance and plan in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds and submits document recording numbers and dates to the city clerk and building inspector of the city of Revere, and the appellant must receive site plan review approval prior to applying for a building permit. Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested, subject to those conditions? Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes, Mr. Lopes? Yes. Yes, Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Yes, Ms. Pratt? Yes. Yes, and Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the variance has been granted, subject to those conditions.
Thank you for your time on this.
Next application is A2501 Bonfiglio Family LLC, 128 Revere Street, Revere, Mass., requesting parking, front yard setback, and screening variances to enable the appellant to construct a 32-unit apartment building at 100, 112, and 116 Revere Street.
Applicant, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Nancy O'Neill, and I am an attorney located at 14 Proctor Avenue. I am here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Bonfiglio Family LLC, and I am joined here tonight by Mr. Paul Bonfiglio, as well as attorney Jerry D'Ambrosio of D'Ambrosio LLP. So the Bonfiglio family owns a series of 3 parcels along Revere Street, specifically 100, 112, and 116 Revere Street, which form a large, approximately half-acre property, which you can see here. So the project composes of 116 Revere Street, which is the yellow house on the corner, the parking lot, and also the beige house on the other side of that parking lot. So approximately a year and a half ago, the Bonfiglio family began work on this proposal for a residential building, which has been changed on numerous occasions upon feedback and requests of the city. So originally, this proposal was for a larger, denser apartment building with a majority of 2-bedroom units, compliant setbacks, and a parking lot used exclusively for building residents. It is important to note that this original proposal was for a by-right project. What this means is that the original proposal for a denser building did not need zoning relief. And upon initial meetings with the city planner, the proposal was changed to accommodate the city's requests. So first, the building was moved towards the street line, necessitating a front yard setback variance. And second, the existing parking lot for the nearby funeral home, which you can see in the middle there, was reincorporated into the plans and relocated underneath the building, necessitating a parking variance for the proposed apartments, and a variance as to a screening width for a nonconformity of 6 inches due to the placement of parking spaces and screening aisles. And out of discussions with the ward councilor, the bedroom count was also reduced to lower the density of the building and eliminate most of the 2-bedroom units. So what is the proposal before the ZBA tonight? So the proposal tonight is for a 5-story, 32-unit apartment building containing 28 1-bedroom units and 4 2-bedroom units with 54 parking spaces at the ground level. This parking includes 22 spaces for the adjacent funeral home, as well as 32 spaces, that's 1-to-1 space-to-unit parking for the apartments. The building also includes ample setbacks with landscape screening and fencing along residential property lines. So we are 18 feet from our neighbor to the side, and about 37 feet from our neighbors to the rear, both of which are compliant setbacks. So this building has been designed and redesigned a number of times to minimize neighborhood impacts and maximize parking. So a community meeting was held earlier this month with the ward councilor and our neighbors to discuss the proposal. So generally, the project was well received, though there were concerns about parking, building height, and the apartment use. First, in terms of parking, 54 spaces are planned. The 32 apartments would receive 32 spaces, so each unit would have a parking space, which is ample parking for the building, as the building is located nearby several MBTA bus stops, including a special frequent service route to Wonderland Station. What that means is that a bus to Wonderland Station is arriving in front of the building every 15 minutes. Metropolitan Area Planning Commission studies for the city of Revere estimate that apartments close to public transportation in the city utilize parking at a 0.6 to 1 space to unit ratio. Simply put, not every unit nearby public transportation is using a parking space in the city. So here we are providing parking at a 1-to-1 space to unit ratio. So we are actually above MAPC recommendations for parking by providing a space for every unit. So in addition to the 1-to-1 parking for the apartments, 22 spaces at the property, which if you're looking at this rendering here, it would be the parking lot to the right. So in that parking lot, 22 spaces are planned for the adjacent funeral home. So currently, the lot on the property, that contains 21 spaces for the funeral home. So those spaces are being retained and moved closer to that funeral home. And instead of 21 spaces, there will now be 22 spaces. They're actually gaining a parking space as part of this proposal. So we do not anticipate any parking impacts arising out of this building. And it is important to remember here that the property is zoned as a general business district. The proposed building height and stories are by right. You are allowed by the Rivera ordinances in the general business district 5 stories and 50 feet. That is what is proposed here. An apartment use is also allowed by right in the general business district, so we are not seeking relief for the apartment use either. So this project, in terms of size, scale, density, and parking, complies with City of Revere planning goals for the Rivera Street corridor and the general business district as a whole. The city's Next Stop Revere Master Plan, finalized by the city in 2020, calls for new housing to be constructed in the general business areas along Rivere Street with reduced parking, 5-story, 50-foot height, and increased density above and beyond the floor area ratio allowed by right in the general business district. So this proposal meets those goals, though the density of the project is reduced. Going off of the allowed floor area ratio, we are about 40% less dense than what is allowed by right, and even less dense than what the city's master plan is promoting. So overall, this project is the product of a year and a half's work with the community to design a building that minimizes abutter impacts, maximizes parking, and features a lesser density than what is allowed by right. So again, out of our discussions with city officials, the building was moved away from the rear property line and the neighbors closer to the street line. Parking was retained for the adjacent funeral home use, and the overall density and bedroom count of the building was reduced. So this is a minimally impactful project with generous parking that meets City of Revere planning goals for the Rivera Street corridor. And this project also enjoys the support of several neighbors, including 2 out of 3 direct abutters, and we also submitted 8 letters of support from neighbors. So for these reasons, we would respectfully request the requested relief is granted, and we are happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing that this is a public hearing, I'll ask if there's any proponents. Anyone in favor?
Attorney Jerry D'Ambrosio. I will not restate what Nancy O'Neill just stated, but I did want to emphasize one point. The Bonfiglio family has been operating that funeral home for, goodness, 60 or 70 years now. It is an essential service in the city of Revere. There are only 2 funeral homes left in the city of Revere. The reason I mention this is that when the Bonfiglios first came up with this plan, it was of right. They could have built it by simply getting a building permit. And when they came to City Hall to get the building permit, the building department intelligently said, well, wait a minute, this is too much parking. 54 parking spots for 32 units is out of line with what's actually being done in the city and the greater Boston area. And we'd rather have more parking available for the community, have more parking available for the funeral home. And as a result of that, they asked Paul Bonfiglio, who's here in the back, if they would work with the city. And so there were a number of things done. The unit density was dropped By right, you have density of 1.5. It was dropped to 0.9. We went from all 2-unit bedrooms to only 4 of the 32. That was done voluntarily. The building density was dropped voluntarily. While it was a matter of right, the building was moved forward closer to the sidewalk to give folks in the back more room. That was done, again, voluntarily by Paul Bonfiglio and his family at the request of the city. And then finally, while Paul Bonfiglio and family had 54 spots for the servicing of this building as a matter of right, the city, and honestly, intelligently so, said it's too much parking for 32 units. We'd rather have, at the very least, 21 spots available for the community during the day and the funeral home when need be. Okay, so we instead of 21, now we have 22. We actually have an increase of 1 parking spot. I think it's important to remember that when looking at this site, the Bonfiglios own 2 of the homes on the outside, and those 2 homes are going to be demolished. So the actual parking lot that you see today is actually quite larger to the right and the left. But I do want to point out that the Bonfiglio family has been here for a long time. They love this community. They live in this community. And the reality of the situation is that they've worked with City Hall to build a project that not only allows them to use their property, but also accommodate the City Hall and the neighborhood in a better way. So, you know, I do understand when people complain, and some people complained about the height, but I remind everyone, the height's a matter of right. There's no request for height. The density is a matter of right. There's no request for an increase in density. I remind everybody that the project as a whole at the beginning was done as a matter of right. The only reason we're before this board is because of the request to make this building more suitable for the neighborhood and to provide for more neighborhood parking. That is the reason we're here today. Otherwise, it would have been done with a simple building permit. Thank you.
Any other proponents?
Good evening, Richard Pagani, 89 Revere Street. I've lived there my whole life, 61 years. My family's been there over 100 years. Matter of fact, my father, all my aunts and uncles were born on that lot. The house that was on that lot before, it was made a parking lot. And Paul, I have full confidence that the project will be done the right way. And it shouldn't hinder anything in the community. I'm fearful of anything else happening there other than that. Who knows, anything could happen there. But he's been a great neighbor and a good businessman in the community, and I think I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other proponents? Good evening. State your name and address for the record, please.
William Flores, 91 Pomona Street. So I'll be on that property like for 10 years.
Okay.
Thank
you're
you.
in favor. Thank you. Any other proponents? Yes. No one else in person. So if you could just read the letters that came in.
Sure, the names of the other individuals who submitted letters in favor of the project were Derek Sasser, 88 Pomona, Selena Villanueva, 90 Pomona, Leslie Santos, 90 Pomona, Rosa Sacco, 99 Revere Street, Martha Lucia Flores, 50 Ambrose Street, Maria Rocca, 111 Revere Street, Juan Alvarado, and Marcela Ventura of 109 Revere Street.
Any others? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Anyone opposed? Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Isabel Morgan, 5-7 Oxford Park. You want me to explain why I oppose?
You have to, yes, go right ahead.
Right. First of all, I mean, they want to build a 32 unit in a residence street, only 1 family house or 2 family house. My house going to abandon the big project they wanna do it. I going to lose my privacy, especially I have grandkids, and they can, in summertime, they cannot enjoy anymore the yard, because 32 unit is a lot of people can see, and I don't know who is the people. You know what I mean? And also, the construction they going to do it, they take it over a year. And my driveway is very close to the project they wanna do it. It's like, I mean, you know, it's in the corner, so it's close. It's like touching each other. And I parking a car, it's a commercial car, they cannot be parking in the street. And I wanna, like, I mean, I don't be comfortable to where I parking. I mean, I know he say, like, it's his property, they can do whatever they want in his property, but you know, even if he build, they has to think, I pay taxes too. I own my house for so many years. And it's not fair for me, like, block all the view, like, my privacy is gone, and it's not only one label or 2 or 3, it's like 5, it's like 50 feet high. I mean, that is my concern. The traffic is already bad. I know they're going to be worse because they want to put a parking in their building, but they coming out and coming in. I mean, they be more traffic, you know what I mean, to heavy traffic being more than where they are now. I mean, and it's not fair. Somebody told me, a lawyer told me, like, if he building this big, my property even going to disvalue my property, and even my neighbors as well. I mean, the valuation of my property not be the same, because all the building, they be like, for me, be like nightmare. I mean, I have to keep all my windows closed during the construction, because a lot of dust and debris going to be in my house and my yard.
Okay.
I
Anything
mean-
else, or?
I would like to, if, I mean, I request, like, to have, like, or to build in barriers, not only to barriers to give me a privacy. To, you know, because, I mean, they want to do a fence, but the fence is not, like, high enough.
Well, they can't go higher. You want a barrier, you can't put up a wall there.
Yeah, that's
You're,
true.
by right, they're not here for anything to do with height. They
Okay.
have the right to build the 5-story building without even coming in front of the Board of Appeals.
Right.
They're in front of us because, like they say, the city has requested a few changes, and that's what brought them in front of us. Okay? Anyone,
thank you.
any other opposition? Nope, you can go right up there, ma'am. They're just getting the correct spelling of the name.
My name is Bonnie Curran. I live on Barrett Street in Revere.
Current, C-U-R,
C-U-R-R-A-N. I'd just like to see it scaled down. If this was by right, first of all, Revere does meet the 40A, so it isn't really by right when they need variances, especially 3 of them.
but they are asking for variances
I
to
know
the city
they are,
requesting
and-
that.
and
By
that-
right, they can put more
By right, they can
apartments.
build, but not under 40A, because we meet that. We can say no. We can say no more variances.
This isn't a 48 project,
That's what he wrote in the paper.
40B project, no.
That's what the advertisement says.
A zoning act.
It's
This is the zoning-
40A, it's not 40B.
But the zoning act, they have the right to come in front of us.
Right, no, I know that, but he's asking under 40A for the MBTA, and he's saying that a bus can't even get down Revere Street now.
I'm confused on what you're saying about 48 with the
Well,
bus.
that was the advertisement in the paper. He's asking for 3 variances, and it's under 40A he's asking for.
Right, yeah,
It's right here.
that's correct.
So what I'm saying is, it isn't by right under 40A, because Revere meets the requirements of 40A. We're there already. We have enough housing on MBTA, is my point. I'm not trying to say, no, don't build. They both were born and raised in Revere.
I'm still
just trying to
confused
see
about your
what's going on.
40A thing. They're not by right under 40A.
Well, that's what he
40A
wa-
is
It's a
the way
lot.
they're coming in front of us.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to do with,
Oh, okay, maybe
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
confused.
yeah, I think you're different.
But the variances, they gotta stop because of the quality of life in the city. Revere Street in that area, you can't get down. Just start building under the variances. Stop giving variances without needing a variance.
If we don't give them a variance, they have the right to build more. We're asking for a variance to keep parking for the funeral home.
He doesn't meet for
Wait,
the building.
If he doesn't have to have parking for the funeral home, he can take this and build and not have parking for the funeral home.
Right.
So there's a give and take here. We're
It's been that way for
asking,
years, so.
no, it hasn't been that way. You have parking
They
there.
park all
now.
over for the bigger funerals. They don't even fit in that parking lot.
But you have a parking lot there now.
Yeah.
By right, they can take and build there and not have any parking. So one of the concessions is for them to keep parking for the
Yeah,
funeral
but
home.
keep giving out variances for parking, and people have nowhere to park. That's the bottom line. You keep giving variances out for parking, you give it out for setbacks. A ladder truck is not gonna pull behind a building there. I really don't believe they're gonna fit. They're gonna stop on Revere Street, and it's gonna stop every MBTA bus coming and every car coming down
But
the
that would
street
happen
for
in a
God
house.
knows-
That would happen if a house next door needed a fire engine.
Right, but not 32 units. You got 32 people that possibly could call for a medical unit. This is the point.
But
I mean,
not 32
why can't
all
we
at once.
scale it
Okay.
down to like, smaller units? That's all I'm asking for. You guys are up here, you're like, okay, okay, okay.
Ma'am, there's a lot of
We just want our
negotiation
quality
going
of
on.
life. I mean,
There's a lot of negotiation going on that this man had to make
I
for
know-
the
I know
city.
that, I know that. And you know what? The city was very good to both of them men. Very good. They have thriving businesses in the city of Revere.
That they-
They've been around a long time. They started off very small and now they're pretty big. So just get back to the city a little and stop asking for variances, that's all. Do it without them.
So let him have 54 parking
Whatever.
spaces on, wait, listen. Let him
Yeah,
have
I
a
hear
building
you.
that's large with 54 parking spaces, no parking spaces for the funeral home, and you live there right now?
They already didn't have the parking for the funeral home.
There's 21 spaces. I've been to many
21 now,
funerals.
but 35 years ago, there wasn't.
Right, so now they have them. You don't want them to take away from
They're taking
something
them
that's
away by
there.
building the building anyway.
They're not taking them away, they're there, ma'am. You're confused.
No,
There's 22 spaces.
I don't believe I am.
There's 22 spaces
They're
being
there now.
allocated for the funeral home.
How
There's
many-
21
how many-
now, there's
how many are
22 being allocated.
How many are there now when they build the building?
21
Where are they going to
spaces
be, underneath?
underneath
next
it,
door?
yes.
Okay, all right.
There's 22 spaces, that's what we're fighting for, and that's
Okay.
what we're getting. They're not taking away spaces, they're giving them.
But the-
They technically don't have to have any.
Yeah, it's just the variances. I'm just asking you to, like, chill
But I
out.
want you to understand that
I don't
there's 21 spaces now on that open lot.
And there's a huge building going up around the corner.
And
that
there's
they just did.
22 spaces that they have to keep under that building for the funeral home.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, you're
But
gonna
thank
see
you.
it, so,
I appreciate it.
okay, but you are gonna see that. That's the confusing part that people aren't hearing about. It is happening. They're gonna keep spaces there for the funeral home.
Yeah.
That was one of the big concerns that stopped them almost a year ago to do this.
Let's just face it, nobody in the city has one car per household. You got 2, 3, 4.
Ma'am, you're not looking at the beach. I live on the beach and people don't have a lot of
I
two
lived on the
cars.
beach, I know, I had to leave the beach.
Yeah, but there's a lot of spaces that are available in some of the buildings down at the beach.
I don't know.
I live there. I
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
I know it.
Okay. Very good.
Anyone else in opposition? That was Bonnie Curran. I would like to speak, but if anyone else would like to speak, you have
Michelle
the...
Kelly is on record, 99 Derby Road, in opposition of this project.
And I'll ask the question. There was, to the attorney, this is just for clarification. There is 28 one-bedrooms, 4 of them that have an appearance of a bedroom. So to eliminate that appearance, as we discussed, that the closet, the walk-in closet there, that the door could be moved to the common area and not in that room. That eliminates any question of that becoming a bedroom. That's been agreed upon?
Correct.
Okay. That was one of the concerns, and I believe now that's corrected. I have to speak on this
If I
full
could,
project.
one real quick, the parking issue.
let
There's
me-
currently 21 spots there.
Let me-
There's going
and I
to be
know that.
54 after this.
Okay, okay. This has been a long process going forward for this parcel of land. There was many disingenuous things put on public media saying that there's going to be no parking. This project could go there, and we stopped it from going there right away to have 54 spaces and to have a project made and eliminate any parking for the funeral home. I questioned the traffic from the funeral home, and if people go to Bonfiglio's right now, there's only one room for funerals. There used to be 2. So now they can only have 1 funeral at a time. There's not 2 funerals going on, so that, number one, lessens traffic and lessens the vehicles going there. And I thank him for doing that, because that was a great thing that he did by just keeping 1 funeral at a time. The other thing was that I know it was hard for them to fight, that they did not want to give up all of the spaces. We have 1 space per unit, which is above what's been going on in the city. And he made that concession for us. And he made the concession to keep 22 spaces under that parcel for people to use the open space and to have for funeral services. I want to make that clear, because everybody said he's taking away all of the parking. That is not the case. It's clear on his plans that there will be 22 spaces for use of the funeral home. I want to make that very clear, because that was one of the biggest things that you're reading on Facebook, and how this man, he's making money, and, any businessman, he could do that he could done this property as a matter of right a year ago, and no questions asked by anybody. I'm sorry we put you through this long process, but I am so happy that you kept the 22 spaces, because that was one of the biggest contentions of people in the neighborhood, for you to now lessen your services to only 1 room. That's even, I'm grateful for that. If there's anyone else that wishes to speak, if you want to, Counselor, if you. Oh, yes, Counselor Kelly wanted the statement read into the record, so. As these 28 one-bedroom units will also include dens, it's not all, there was 4 that included a room, it will be extremely easy to convert the dens into a second bedroom for rental properties. The den could then easily be converted into a bedroom simply by framing a closet. If these rental units are true one-bedroom units, they should be precluded from having dens or other rooms which can be most likely used into dens. So again, we stopped the closet in that room that could be used as an office, could be used as a sitting area. The number one thing is, you got to get certificates of occupancy when you move people in. These cannot be changed to 2 bedrooms.
Right.
They're being voted on for 1 bedrooms. They cannot change that. They'd have to come in front of the Board of Appeals. They'd have to go in front of site plan review and do a whole process. So to put at ease, we even asked to have the door for that walk-in closet changed to the common area versus that den, office, study, whatever you want to call it. Counselor, welcome to the chamber.
Thank you, Councilor Angela Guarino, Sawaya, Ward 5. Okay, after months and months and months of negotiation, this could have been built by right. I know people do not believe that, but it could have been built by right, and it would have been much bigger of a size than it is today. It started off as all two-bedroom units, and I went back and forth with Paul and the attorney. We couldn't have all two-bedroom units on Revere Street. That would create traffic. Not only that, we would have a serious parking issue. So after negotiations, we decided on 28 one-bedroom units and 4 two-bedroom units. And those 4 two-bedrooms were because they're the corner units and they're much bigger. So they had to be two-bedroom units. Paul has come to me, and he was really concerned about his neighbors. So I originally got a bunch of letters that was opposed to this project. But after our community meeting that we held, people came around. And actually, 2 of them are in this room tonight. They came around and they changed their minds and, realized what he is trying to give back. Paul has been a staple in this community for many, many years. His whole family has. Again, I was dead opposed to this building, thinking of how big it was going to be. But he stayed at the 5-story level. He's not getting a variance for that. The variances that he is getting are variances.
Just for clarification, you're not speaking in opposition?
I'm not. I'm speaking. I was in opposition, but right now I'm trying to get
So
the
you're a
best that I
proponent?
can. I'm the counselor. I'm just speaking as a counselor.
It's public hearing, proponents or opponents?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Okay. He's worked extremely hard at trying to give us everything that we wanted. The city asked for the front setback variance so we could have the open space for the back, so the residents didn't have to have the building on top of them. He went around to the residents and he spoke to most of them. He's trying to appease what they need to make it okay for them. One particular residence that I was concerned about, who is extremely ill, he is making sure that she is going to be okay with what's being built there. He's asked for the city has asked him to have the variance for the cars. Most of the buildings that are being built in Revere, which I don't agree with, do not have any parking. This one here is going to have 32 parking spaces, which is huge for the city of Revere, for somebody to be building and actually give us one-to-one. Also, the other thing is we're still going to have the 22 parking spaces for the funeral parlor, which is very, very important for the city of Revere, considering, all the funerals that are being held there, and, we do have many cars. As far as traffic is concerned, I asked for policing during the construction, which Paul has agreed to. I don't think much traffic will come in and out of the apartment building as people are thinking. It's not going to be 32 cars coming out at once, or going in at once. Maybe once every half an hour, you might see a car here, a car there. It's nothing different than other cars coming from other cities going through. I'm happy he's going to give us that robust landscaping in the back, as well as the fencing to benefit the neighbors. Just as long as the neighbors are happy, then I'm happy. And after that meeting, I feel comfortable with most of the neighbors that were opponents that have changed their minds and become proponents. And that is where I stand right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any members wish to speak? Is there a motion to approve? Ask for a roll call, please. With our standard stipulations, and there'd be no permits issued by the city.
The conditions are as follows. The closet door located in the den of the one-bedroom units shall be relocated to the living room area wall. If the rights authorized by this variance are not exercised within 1 year of the date of the grant of this variance, the right shall lapse. This variance shall not be valid until the appellant has recorded this variance and plan in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds and submits document recording numbers and dates to the city clerk and building inspector of the city of Revere. The appellant must receive site plan review approval prior to applying for a building permit, and the property shall not be eligible for participation in the city of Revere's residential and visitor on-street permit parking program. Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief subject to those conditions? Mr.
Just
Lemon?
one thing.
Oh,
With the door, it's per the building code, so we have to make sure that we're asking them to move the door, then with the approval of the building inspector.
okay. So the closet door located in the den of the one-bedroom units with a den shall be relocated to an appropriate location as determined by the building.
Yes.
I'm just going to reread that one more time, that one condition. The closet door located in the den of the one-bedroom units in the, shall be relocated to an appropriate location as determined by the building inspector. Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested subject to those conditions? Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes, Mr. Lopes? Yes. Yes, Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Yes, Ms. Pratt?
Yes.
Yes, and Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the relief has been granted, subject to those conditions.
Our next calendar item number?
Next item is application A2502, Jamie Ruano, 29 Carlton Street, Revere, Mass., requesting a variance of section 17-16260F with respect to the requirement that detached accessory structures shall not occupy more than 10% of the rear yard and shall not be located within the required side yards and within 2 feet of the rear lot line to enable the appellant to construct a 20 by 20 pergola at 29 Carlton Street.
If you press that button once, state your name and address for the record, please.
29 Carleton Street, Riviera, Mass. 02151.
Your name?
Jamie A. Ruano.
Okay. Okay, the plan pretty much speaks for itself, so I'll open this up to, are there any proponents? Anyone in favor? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Are there any opponents? Anyone opposed? And the ward councilor, please step up to the microphone and speak first, and then we do have a letter of opposition.
Good evening. Angela Garino, Sawaya, Ward 5 City Councilor. It's come to my attention that a letter was sent to the
That's
city
correct.
clerk. I have not had the opportunity to speak to this woman yet, but I am not in favor of it being so close to her property, which is less than 1 foot away. I think it should be at least 2 feet away.
Okay. My first question would be is, we always ask if they've reached out to the ward councilor.
Yeah.
So have you discussed this with the gentleman? Did he reach out to you
No,
prior to the
he
meeting?
has not reached out to me.
So normally, we would ask if you wish a continuance so that you can discuss this with this gentleman and then have a sort of a meeting with the boundaries and check the abutter who's in opposition.
Yes, that's what I...
So there's a request for a motion to continue. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. Yep.
Is this something that's already built, or he's planning on building?
Planning on building.
Planning on building, okay.
I have not spoken to him. He has not contacted me at all. So I really need the
Well,
time.
you answered that question, and you really don't know. Is this already built, sir? Did you already build this in your backyard?
It's already built.
So you did this without a building permit?
Yes.
Okay. So that's one of the biggest things. I'm surprised they didn't make you take it down. But we are going to ask for a continuance, so you can meet with the ward councilor, and then you can possibly meet with the abutter who's opposed to this. The direct abutter next door is in opposition of this.
Oh, okay.
Behind, the rear.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a motion to continue. And then you have the letter of
Yeah,
opposition
Barbara
on file.
Popolo, 20 Oxford Park, is in opposition to this project.
Motion to continue, roll call, please.
Shall the Zoning Board of Appeals continue this matter to the February 26th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals? Mr. Lemonna?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Lopes? Yes, Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Pratt?
Yes.
Yes, and Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this matter will be continued. There's
Having
no
no
further
further
business.
business, the Board of Appeals will now adjourn till February 26th.